Welcome to Hacking Business Technology, the podcast that matters and listens to James Brown beforehand just to get pumped up so we can give you a great show today, people. We've got Faraz here, Mr. Mark Kawasaki here, and Matt Hooper is mysteriously gone. He didn't give an excuse. I'm used to an excuse.
What's up with that?
I don't know. Maybe he's doing... Oh, I know. He's starting a guerrilla podcast. He thinks that there's enough attention in the ITSM industry for multiple podcasts.
It's like a shadow podcast.
The shadow podcast. I like it.
How do we prevent shadow podcasts?
So I actually kind of hijacked today's podcast topic because I've got something similar to what Faraz coming up, and that's a go live. Well, not necessarily the same thing. I don't actually have a go live coming up, but on Sunday we've got a meeting coming where all of our employees come to one location at one time, and we develop all this professional development content and training for them, and they all come there. So I've got this go live coming on Sunday. In fact, my flight's at 6:45 a.m. on Sunday.
Ugh, I hate those 6:30 flights.
So the topics that I wanted to talk about was stress management and to-do management, like what you guys do, or what, I hate to use the term guys, it's just part of my lexicon, I'm sorry. What do you, two people of mixed genders, how do you feel about stress management? How do you deal with stress? How do you deal with your to-do list? How do you feel about not getting things done on your to-do list?
That's a very deep question, believe it or not. Well, I think you hit on some important patterns, right? So one, similarly, I'm going through a go live. Any client site I've ever been to, I feel like I have to give the same set of kumbaya speeches, right? Because there is this sense of panic. Oh my God, it's here. Oh my God, what if this requirement? Oh, can we squeeze in this? Can we squeeze in that? And it's like, look, perfection is the enemy of good, and you kind of have to, it seems so cliche, but it's so true, and we all have to convince ourselves of that. So my personal stress management tool, with everything that goes on in consulting and client management and all your other side duties in your personal life, is really to take a step back and I say, you know what, I've done my best today, and that's all I can do, and that's how I kind of justify when I don't get to all the things on my to-do list. That being said, I still think there's some practical things we can do, and I'll let Mark share his idea first, and then we can talk about some actual ways to manage all of those things that come at us.
You know, it's interesting because I feel like I've run into a lot of people who've had perfectionist issues, and I don't know if it's an IT thing or what, but I mean,
or if it's even their issue or your issue.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's the whole just ship thing has been important to me to keep me even remotely successful.
Wait, explain that, because I don't know what you're talking about there. What is just shift?
No, just ship. So
so get together, ship, and then iterate.
Just get it out there, even though it's not 100%. And you know, because of the age-old problem of getting to the last mile and then not being able to complete, and then nothing's ever complete. That sort of thing. So just get it out there. Don't worry about the imperfections, and go with it. And so I literally have to remind myself of that every day, and sometimes I have to go through. It's difficult because a lot of times it's because of other people. You're waiting on someone else. They're just not getting back to you. They're not giving you what you need, and so you have this task that's sitting out there forever, and sometimes you just have to draw a line and say, this is done, whether you like it or not in its current form. I've done everything I can. I'm going to assume you meant this, and you have to kind of make decisions on other people's behalf and just go for it. But it does seem it's difficult for my personality and seemingly many others to be able to ship something that's imperfect and to not overanalyze the language and the message and the people's reception and that sort of thing. You do your best and then you get it out there.
Yeah, I like that. You're making me think about it's not a binary yes, no, go. It's sort of like it's a what do I want to say? It's a spectrum. It's a spectrum. If you've got a set of goals for, like, let's say a go live, for example. You've got a set of goals. Yes, you could hit those goals, and those specific things can be binary. But your overall success isn't necessarily measured by you just achieving those goals. You could probably go even one step further and like for us, Ed, that scope creep stuff.
Yeah.
If we tweak this word in this document, people will feel a specific way. If we add this feature to the software set, people will be more likely to adopt it. But I think, so then it comes down to really just focusing on those goals and cutting it up into little pieces.
Yeah, I think there's if I could think of a practical approach in my personal style, there's kind of three things I make sure I do. One, the most important thing is if people are fearing, getting past that fear of wanting to let go and just shipping and then seeing how it is, one way I can mitigate that fear is by giving them a really solid process to manage feedback as soon as we go live, right? Mm-hmm. So that hypercare period, what you do with immediate feedback, how you structure what you're going to support becomes a critical success factor so that people can feel like, okay, it's okay if it's at a B+, because I've got a way to manage all that feedback and filter what's critical and address it right away. So I think that's one critical success factor. The other critical success factor is you kind of hit on it a little bit, is that go, no, go. One of the things I've recently started on a lot of my projects is a 3-stage go, no, go. So, and that, Mark, I don't know if you were at Emory at that time, but we did something very similar at Emory when we did the go, no, go there too. So go, no, go, I always will do right after the last retrospective of the last sprint. If you had to go live tomorrow, could you? Do you feel comfortable with what you've built, that if you really had to go live, push came to shove, and we needed to get this out the door tomorrow, could we survive? Mm-hmm. Right? And it's that spectrum, getting that feel. Okay.
Literally, will we live through the night is what you're asking.
Exactly.
Yeah, and not even just would you make that decision if it happened to you right now, whether you liked it or not.
Exactly. Putting them in that forceful position, and then if the answer is no, tell me why. So, because I have another week to address it, right?
No, I say you just pull the trigger. It's left.
Well, this is the last retrospective, because after that you got your UAT period, and then let's say you've got your actual go live. So I always do one after the last retrospective. I'll do another one at the end of UAT, and I'll do another one the night before go live. And the night before go live, that go no go is less about the tool or the process or the people. It's more about does everybody feel comfortable with what their role is going to be in less than 12 hours?
Well, and did everybody finish their territory match?
Yeah, exactly.
Territory, insert that word here, match. I did an edit last week's podcast, and I think I said the S word on it.
Oh, you took it out?
I didn't take it out. And so I think we could actually be banned on iTunes.
Jeez.
For real? They have a language ban?
Yeah. Is
there a list of words?
We're not marked as vulgar or whatever. Explicit. I'm sorry, I'm detracting from the topic, but I really think it's fascinating. So
we really need an explicit label.
I feel justified. Yeah, I guess we should get the explicit, because we really just don't want kids listening to ITSM.
Yeah,
are you kidding? That's what brings the kids in.
And good gosh. By the way, the third critical success factor is having both qualitative and quantitative criteria to measure your success. We always think of how many records have been generated or how many bugs have we identified and resolved, but what about the qualitative aspects of it and measuring that? And so if I think if you have those three aspects, I think that helps mitigate that feeling of I'm not comfortable with letting go and just shipping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons that the Agile methodology is so popular, because it gets you to a point where you're already thinking about the next iteration. Like even if you aren't okay, so go live is when we install the tool, right? And then you just iterate from there and there. And then you've got, the point where you actually expose it to people. And that's like another go live. But, I'm not sure that that's inherently more risky. I feel like that's less risky to do it like that, to at least cut it up like that. I love that you talked about fear of jumping, like it's sort of a leap of faith. It's funny how people think that they can buy that in a consulting firm. Like, hey, if we buy IBM and they do this implementation of iSeries, there's no way that we can possibly fail. So we give them our faith. Think about the ties of that to like faith-based other things.
Now we're getting super deep.
Faith-based ITSM.
That's holy ground, literally in that case.
It would be fun though if you had that meeting, Farah, where you asked, if you were live right now, what, would it be okay?
Eat this cracker, dunk it in some wine, and eat this cracker.
We totally
just live right now.
But then you could say, okay, good, because we're live, and
yeah,
see what you do.
I was just going to say, that's brilliant. Actually, I like it. So our version of the Chaos Monkey that comes in as a surprise on production would be like, we had our first go, no go, and since all of you said go, we went live.
There was someone with their finger
on the green pill.
Yeah, someone had their finger on the big red button in the other room.
Warp speed. Engage.
That's what we need to produce and sell is like ITSM big red buttons. Not where it says something, but it actually automates something happening. That would be kind of fun.
That would be.
It's not as fun as you think. Like, someone presses the button 100 times, and then you've got 100 instances of VM you just don't want. With great automation comes great
responsibility.
I'm just saying, when you're upgrading your tool or something like that, it would be really fun if right when you pulled the trigger, you could press a big red button. We need that for all kinds of things in life.
Ka-chunk.
Ready to get married? Big red button.
Or reverse, which...
that it's so far removed from the time when you actually signed the contract to go live that everyone has forgotten that that's when it actually happened, that you picked up the pen and said, I will buy this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say more expletives here so we get kicked off of iTunes. I will buy this stuff. Okay, so if you're in the ITSM industry, I do have one gripe. If you have a secret in the ITSM industry and you don't want anyone to know, you should never tell Matt Barron. Okay, there, I said it. Now, whoever you are out there, don't tell any more secrets because it's killing me.
Oh, come on.
I like that you use the term hypercare. That really is what it feels like all the time sometimes, but it sounds so much like hypercard. It kind of brings me back to the 90s.
Oh, I miss HyperCard.
That actually, that is websites. I mean, it was like a local website, kind of. I don't know. Yeah. All we've done is recreated HyperCard like 100 million times. My favorite iteration is Trello, as you know.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of which, back to your original question on what do you do to manage tasks, I'm telling you, I finally got my husband hooked on it. I got my good friend hooked on it for Trello. So I think you have a lot of insight to share on Trello, because I think that's a great way to address the challenge of how do I manage all these tasks flying at me.
Oh yeah, would you like to see some stuff then?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we'll go over just a couple tweets then. I'll try not to recreate that effect where
we're in like.
Okay, so I had to do this. I had to do it with screenshots because everything has to be blanked out because there's so much stuff in here. I'm just validating, actually, that I blanked out everything. I should have checked this before I tweeted it. But what I do is there's one column. Can you see my screen all right?
Mm-hmm.
On the left-hand side, on the left-hand side, there's a currently working on column, and the reason that you have to separate that as currently working on is because then your data systems can depend on it. That is my active task immediately. So that actually is what feeds my Google Calendar. So when I'm working on this all-employee meeting, which we call Summit, it logs that to my calendar. So I know that I've been working on that for 3 solid weeks. In some cases, it's not as valuable as others. But when I quick have to slip a client billable thing in there, for a few minutes, I can actually track the time that I've got it in there. It's really nice. And then you can see up in the top right, all these members, these are other people who are conscious detractors of our IT systems and have joined this board to view what I'm working on live.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the things that I think are really cool is if you use Trello a lot, creating a template is really nice. So another screenshot I've got here is one that we started for a health company, and we just made it a template and a training all in one. So basically, we put all these cards in Next that people have to go through when they join the board, and and just click on it, and it teaches them Trello, like, hey, click to drag cards is the second one down there, so click to drag, and you can do a lot with these cards. If you open that up, there's some tips in there. Click this one? I don't know. Oh, yeah, you can do a lot with these cards, click this one. And if you keep scrolling down, it gets into to-do lists and due dates and how to assign tasks to people. And then what's nice is you can just copy this entire thing anytime that you need, a new instance set up or whatever.
Yeah. The other one you showed was for a particular project or just for a particular team?
Yes, that's for a particular team. So we had this client approach us, and I would love to pitch this against you two because I've never, it's interesting to see how we approach things. But one of the things that they really needed a lot of help. There's a lot of fire. We've heard this story before, right? The building is burning from underneath our feet, and we're on the top story. And so they just needed something to get in and get proof of value quickly so that they can trust a vendor and take them on this long journey from burning that building down, just burn it down, just let it go, and then building up a new one from scratch. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so what we did is we took a 4-week beginning of a project, took our process, which we sell and license and love. It's sort of the Maryville way. It's really our differentiator. And we set 3 or 4 objectives for that 3 to 4 week period that are based on our process. You need to have this in incident management. Number 1, tell where your fires are. So we try to hit out those objectives, and really the idea is that we could give you a list of 40 objectives and just show that to your CEO or your directors or whatever. Pick off 3. You can do that in a 4-week sprint. Just make it bite-sized. The people that are totally losing their minds and have no idea what they're doing can say, I can buy 4 weeks, and at the end we will have these objectives completed. It's really simple.
I like that you have a constant view of your goals and objectives, though. I do that personally, and I know that that's huge. I mean, I've heard it said that if you're looking, especially at your long-term goals, every day, you're 10 times more likely to succeed at those than if you have the same goals but don't look at them every day.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I've been focusing a lot on just simplicity lately, though, and I really like Momentum. I don't know if you guys know what Momentum is, but it's a Chrome plugin, and it gives you a really nice, beautiful picture, a different one every day on your homepage when you open Chrome, and it has a to-do list. So I keep 10 items there that I'm working on that day or that week. The rest of my to-dos are in another tool, usually Evernote or something like that. So it's similar, but I like to have it right there in front of me when I'm working on. Even if I don't have to go into a tool, I always have to open Chrome, and it's always there.
There's that. You've hit on this really important detail about to-do lists, and that is where you keep it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize this. I've used tons of apps, tons and tons of apps. I used Trello probably 5 years ago, and then there was a gap where I didn't use it for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I found my tipping point was it needs to be an app on my device. If I can't, I wish I was still screen sharing, but if I can't Apple tab to it and see what it is, I won't ever open it up. And so what I did is I got this app called Fluid for OS X that will take any web page and turn it into an app on your machine.
Oh.
And so Maryville has a little logo down on my dock down there where I always have it open and I can alt-tab to it, and just keeps it present in my mind at all times. And if I ever get distracted, I can always go there and say what I'm supposed to be working on or what I've said I'm working on at the moment.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
I like that. So, even Matt, you touched on an interesting point, right? And I think that in itself was so simple. We often, as people, as vendors, as consultants, we get caught up in the complex, got to have a Gantt chart, project plan, got to plan all these things out. Well, you said it. What are people looking for? Proof of value in a short period of time. And it comes back to our favorite topic, right? And that is what establishes trust. And so when you have that proof of value and you build it in a simple way through objectives, through tasks, through something that's visual that people can connect with, I think those are all critical to setting up that journey so that they are prepared to just ship it. So these are all, I think, important things and ways that we can manage our tasks make our lives simpler and get more done and really ease that stress that we're talking about at the beginning of the show.
I love it. Absolutely fantastic. And don't forget to take time to yourself. You know, we don't talk about meditation a lot, or, you know, massage is another great way. I've never had a massage, but people love them for de-stressing.
Or a bath. I really like to take baths.
A bath. That's good, too, because then at the end you smell clean. I like to do yoga, so it's sort of like the opposite. I need to combine both of those things somehow. I need the physical workout and like the mental clarity, but then also the cleanliness.
Right. But, you know, and let's talk about work for a minute, right? Work climate. One of the things, and we might have talked about this a year or so ago, but I find that in very stressful project situations where we've got a lot going on, we've got a lot of teams, one effective strategy is walking meetings. There's a lot of, there's a TED Talk on it. I didn't even know there was until someone's like, hey, you do the same thing that chick does on TED Talks. So I was like, oh, that's cool. But, you know, it's really cool. If I'm only going to meet with one or two people, like, let's go for a walk. You know, go outside, go around the building. You know, you'll maybe raise some eyebrows in security. That's fine. But I find that just getting out of that space is almost relaxing in of itself, and you're still accomplishing something, if not more, because you're opening up yourself to more ideas. So
yeah, that's a great idea. I love that.
Small things, right? Small things can make such a big impact. I mean,
well, you know,
music.
sometimes at Emory, they'll bring in kittens for the students when they're having finals, so they can take a break.
Kittens or puppies or something. Yeah, that's right.
Too many allergy issues, though, right? I guess maybe not. And those people usually kind of stay away. Just don't hand out peanuts.
Thank you.
It's amazing how that allergy has, you know, my kids have never been allergic to anything. I've never been allergic to anything in my life, but now I have to watch out for peanuts because every child around them is allergic to peanuts. I'm sorry, I sound like an old man or like a helicopter mom or something.
Well, as a fellow peanut allergy sufferer, I thank you for understanding. Because it's airborne, and that's something we can't control, right? Unlike gluten is not airborne allergy, but peanuts definitely are. So that makes it that much tougher. But
yeah, I guess they have all this fungus all over them. I had no idea that they're really common. It's common that peanuts have mold on them, no matter what. Like, they look perfect, but they've got mold on them. Weird. Terrible. You can't eat it if you've got stomach issues because of the mold issues. I don't know. That's all I know about it. So good luck with your Go Live. Mark, I have no idea what professional projects you have going on this week, but good luck with them too.
You too, Matt. Thank you.
And to all our listeners, happy holiday weekend or week coming up. So
yeah.
We'll see you next week on Friday. When no one is working, we will still show up to this podcast.
Is that the plan? All right. Sounds good. I'm down. We'll talk about turkey and the process of optimizing it or something.
Don't eat it. That's the only way to optimize turkey. All right. Have a good week, everyone.
All right. See you guys.